exciting to see some faces back again. Glad that you haven't gotten burned out on these yet. I'd like to thank all the advisors that are here today. I see Mr. Malinsky from Cy Fair, Ms. Comstock from Bruce Village, and of course Ms. Boyer from Cy Ranch. And awesome for Cy Ranch to host this great event. And there's plenty of food over there, so help yourselves. We're not going to run out. This does mark the first press conference to have a Keurig machine. So there's plenty of pods and hot chocolate if you don't like coffee back there to keep you caffeinated during the press conference. So enjoy that. Pretty excited about our event today. We are streaming live over here if you want to say hi to the hover cam. We are going to be using the CFISD Presser hashtag. So if anyone is streaming from your home campuses, you guys can ask questions remotely for Mr. Sprague, and I will pipe those in throughout the regular questions that we get throughout this live press conference. Let's see, any other things I want to cover? Whenever you're asking a question, be sure to remember to say your name and the school that you're with, just to kind of get in that habit so he knows who he's talking to. And we'll have some more instructions at the end. But right now I'm going to bring up Cy Ranch student who's going to give a little intro about the program, and he's going to introduce Mr. Sprague. So I'd like to welcome Cameron Coble from Cy Ranch.
Hello, I'm Cameron Coble, and I'm the editor of the school newspaper here at Cy Ranch. It's called The Mustang Messenger. And first, I just want to thank Mr. Weckerly for hosting these monthly meetings for us, because it gives us a chance to meet with other journalism students and teachers, and then it also gives us a chance to network and also get some publications in local newspapers and publications, which is always great. And so here at Cy Ranch, we have a staff of only 8 students, but we all work together to also work on the newspaper and the yearbook, which is called The Stampede. And so I just want to thank Ms. Boyer for putting up with us, because there is a limited amount of us, so we're much closer and rowdier, and we're with her early in the mornings, which I'm sure we got this new coffee machine, which she's going to be using, I know, from now on, so to put up with us. But yeah, I just wanted to thank her and all the other staffers that all pull in our extra weight for the smaller staff that we have. And then I just want to thank Mr. Roy Sprague for coming out and speaking with us today. He is the Cy Fair ISD Associate Superintendent of Faculties, Construction, and Support Services. So everything with the buildings and maintenance, he does it all, and so we're going to hear from him. So please give him a warm welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Cameron, for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be here and to be able to tell you a little bit about what we do in Cy Fair on the operational side of the business, and be happy to answer any questions you guys may have. Just to give you a little bit of background, I'm a registered architect and a registered interior designer here in the state of Texas. I've got over 35 years experience in facilities, design and construction and planning. I'm starting my 20th year here at Cy Fair ISD. I started out as a director and then worked my way up to my current position as associate superintendent and chief operations officer for the district. What that means is I pretty much handle everything that is non-educational in terms of buildings. I take care of all the facilities, of my teams, I should say. Take care of all the facilities, the designs of the buildings and construction. We also take care of the maintenance, the operations or custodial services, cleaning the buildings. We're also responsible for the transportation of getting kids to and from school every day, our food service operations, purchasing. I'm also oversee all the real estate transactions for the school district, just to name a few things. And in my spare time, I enjoy to play golf and bowl when I do have a spare moment every now and then to do that. I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of the departments. Our facilities group, which is our primary big focus, is we passed a bond election in May of 2014 for $1.2 billion. I still have a hard time saying the word billion because our previous bond programs were in the millions of dollars. And it's a 6-year building renovation and new construction program. It also includes some technology upgrades. I think Frankie Jackson's already talked to you guys last year about what she does and all the technology improvements as part of that bond program that's being implemented. Primarily, we do all the new construction, manage that process, and do all the renovations. We currently have about $900 million plus of work in some form of construction, design, planning, or warranty that our department is overseeing. And that's a huge amount, and that's usually larger than most large general contractors in the city of Houston in terms of their yearly volume. We also oversee the energy management department, so when the lights don't come on, we have to work with that group to make sure we schedule lights on for these kind of events and after-hour activities, and we oversee that. We enter over 10,000 plus schedules a month with all the schedules of all the facilities across the district, and it's a big job. We have 5 people within that department that do that. Overall, there's 3,500 employees in my division, divisions that I'm responsible for based on the number of people we have. Transportation department, we transport about 80,000 students every single day to and from school, and we hopefully do that very safely, except for last week as we had a little bus fire that we're still investigating what caused that, and fortunately our bus driver did exactly what they needed to do and got the kids out safely. Nobody was injured, thank God for that. The other thing that we do, we travel about 8.5 million miles every year, and that was based on our 2015-16 broad schedule. We purchased over 1.5 million gallons of fuel to transport our students. In terms of our food service operations, we serve about 115,000 meals per day, and over a course of a year, it works out to be about 20 million meals across the year for breakfast and lunch. And so it's a pretty big operation that we have to oversee, maintain that. Our operations or custodial departments, they're responsible for cleaning the buildings every single day. And our total square footage of our district is about 16.7 million square feet. And that would equate to about 8,000 to 2,000 square foot homes of cleaning every single day. So if y'all know how difficult it is to clean the rooms that your parents ask you to do, and just imagine how many rooms you would have to clean to handle a school district this size. A couple of things that y'all may not know about Cypress is we are the 3rd largest school district in the state of Texas. We're also the 23rd largest school district in the nation based on our student population of about 115,000 students. With that, we comprise about 186 square miles in our boundaries. We're growing at about 1,500 plus students a year, and we're going to continue to grow. I think, based on depending on the projections and some of the growth patterns that may occur over the next several years, and whether or not the oil and gas market improves or not, we could actually max out about 135 to 140,000 students, which will still require us to come in and build quite a few new facilities in order to meet that demand and growth that we anticipate in the district. I'm trying to think what else. Our maintenance department is responsible for making sure our buildings are in good condition from a repair standpoint. So if you had, like at your house, your air conditioning breaks down, our maintenance technicians come in behind the scenes and actually take care of the repairs and make sure our systems are working every day. If our lights don't work, if our air conditioning doesn't work, it doesn't create a very conducive learning environment for y'all to be successful in your educational career at Cypress. So a lot of times I always refer to our team as the silent heroes because they work behind the scenes to make sure everything works every day when you come to school. In fact, in some cases, we may have already had 2 or 3 problems at a particular campus before you all even walk in the door, and our teams are behind the scenes making sure those systems are working properly so that we can have a good day of learning for you guys every day. So that's some of the things we do behind the scenes to make that work and ensure that we have good quality facilities. That's the one thing we try to do mostly when we design our buildings. We want it to be a great learning environment for you guys. We want you to be proud when you come to our buildings, and we want to make sure they're clean and they're maintained properly so that you're very proud of being here and that it's a great learning environment for you guys to pursue your goals and career goals as you complete your career here at Cypress IC. And we take a lot of pride in what we do. We've been changing our designs quite a bit to try to change with the adaptability of what we're doing on the curriculum side. And we want our buildings to be extremely flexible, so it gives us multi-functions and use them for various components and changes that may occur throughout the educational process you go through, as well as curriculum changes that the state might implement that we have to move forward with. So I tried to do a very quick summary. Hopefully that was in the 5-minute allotment of my opening statement here, and then I'll be happy to start answering any questions y'all have. Who's going to be first? Yep.
Hi, yes, I'm Karen. I was going to ask, so with the different weather changes that happen all the time, how do you guys like deal with that for the whole district?
In terms of air conditioning and so forth, or
Yeah, just the
outside
flooding that
conditions?
randomly happens sometimes and.
Well, fortunately, we have our teams are all prepared, so when these incidents do occur, if you recall back in April, which a lot of schools got affected, so the students here from Cyfair and Cy Falls got impacted the most from the floods back in April that occurred on April 18th. When we saw the weather forecast, a lot of times we'll get up at 4 o'clock in the morning anticipating what the weather reports are and following the road conditions. Our police department has patrol cars at night, so we patrol the roads to see if they're going to be passable in the morning. And usually around 5 o'clock we have to start making a decision as to whether we're going to call school or not because of inclement weather. And that's a really big decision for the district to make because it impacts a lot of people. People having to go to work and whether they have to stay home with their kids versus going to the office. But the primary concern is safety, and we want to make sure we can safely transport students to and from school with our buses. The last thing we want to do is get kids to the school, but we can't get them back out. If the roads are flooding and we can't get our buses in to the campus. And the same thing for your parents and or for you that drive cars here. Same situation. We want them to be safe when you get to school and to be able to get back to your homes when you finish. So we have a lot to do. A lot of departments are involved in that decision. We talk to transportation, our police department, our custodial folks are checking buildings out. We check to make sure we have all the power. We don't have any power outages because if we don't have power, it's going to be very difficult for you guys to learn in the building. And if we wind up having multiple power outages, then it impacts the decision we make as to whether we close school or not. I hope that answers your question. Next.
I'm a Dallas Bradford and I'm from Langham Creek High School. I was wondering, as new facilities are being built right now, how do you plan to implement green or environmental friendly materials into the new building?
Great question. Currently our board, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, passed a resolution to adopt the Collaborative for High Performance Schools design criteria. It's a green, sustainable design guideline that we actually utilize and implement on all our projects. And it helps us look at selecting certain environmentally friendly materials so that if we have to dispose of it, it can be disposed of in a friendly and a recyclable way. And we also look at the performance. And one of the things we try to do with the sustainability is looking at measures that actually help save dollars for the district. Because the dollars we can save on the utility side, we can actually put directly back into the classroom, and y'all get the direct benefit of that, and more teachers or more programs that can be offered to do that. So we're very conscious about how we design the buildings to make sure they're energy friendly and they're very efficient. We use high efficiency chillers. We look at all the various systems and components and try to specify the most efficient systems out there. But these guidelines help us, and in fact, I'm actually proud to report that Cypress Park High School that we just recently opened just received the recognition of meeting the design standard for the CHIPS program. It's called Texas CHIPS. And then we also received work right before the holidays at Woodard Elementary School, our newest elementary school that opened the previous year, also is receiving that same designation. And we hopefully will continue to pursue that further as time goes on to design the buildings. You're welcome.
Yes, my name is Jesus Son. I'm from Cypress Ranch High School. So my question is, how are you going to deal with overcrowding, especially in more developing areas such as town like Lincoln?
Another great question, and it's always a challenge for all school districts on how do we deal with the current and future anticipated growth. One of the things the district has utilized is we've hired an outside company, demographer, to help us with our enrollment projections. We also have an internal department, planning and research department, that also does and looks at the projections. So what we do is we try to stay in touch with all the developers and landowners in the area of undeveloped land and try to understand what their growth plans are. Are they going to build residential homes? Are they going to build commercial or industrial and things like that? Because that has a big impact on what the potential projection can be for student growth. And then we take that data and evaluate it and then try to project when we think we need schools based on that growth pattern. And then that's how we plan for when we need to open these schools. So the outside demographers provide great assistance to us to make sure we're staying on track with our long-range plan, so we can make sure we can design One, we were seeing some, in that general area, we're seeing some increases in enrollment. And Maskey is one of our older buildings and a smaller capacity in the number of students we can house at that campus. So the demographers actually, when some of our long-range planning, they actually came up with the idea that maybe we can look at building a new Maskey and converting the existing Maskey to some other function. So we pursued that, and we actually thought that was a wonderful idea. So currently we have the new Maskey under construction, and what was really nice about this is we actually own the piece of property right down the road from Maskey, which is directly adjacent to Cypress Ranch High School. And so that's where the new Maskey is being built at, and it's within the same boundary zones of the attendance boundaries for the campuses, so it makes it a little bit easier in terms of the boundary changes that need to be done. But just the boundaries are probably going to be expanded a little bit in order to accommodate the additional capacity that we're now building on the campus. So Maskey, I think, contained about 850 students, somewhere around there, if I remember correctly. And our new elementary school campuses can house 1,092 students. It's the ultimate design capacity we like. We do have schools that actually have more students in those buildings, and most buildings can handle it up to a certain point. Then we have to admit that they have portable buildings. But this will really help us with our growth over there. And one of the things we're doing is we're maintaining the traditions of Maskey Elementary School within the new building design. We spent a lot of time meeting with this campus staff over there and trying to make sure we build that into the new design, so it makes it just feel like we're moving into a new building that's in Maskey. And we're currently looking at options of what we're going to do with the existing Maskey Elementary School and what we're going to use that facility for. And we're exploring various options, but we're not going to tear down Maskey. We're not going to sell it. We're going to go ahead and look at another alternative function for us. We're going to renovate that building and do what we need to do to be able to use as another supplemental administration complex or some other support facility that would be beneficial for the district. I do want to add, though, this, we've had questions already about the trees that were knocked down at the corner over there by Cypress Creek. And just want to let y'all know, we do not own that property at the corner. That's the developer. They're building a bunch of new homes at that location, and unfortunately they wiped out every single tree. And we've had a few phone calls from people and some of our taxpayers out there saying, what are you doing tearing all these trees down? I think we even had some tweets about it as well. And so we did not do that. One of the things we always try to do, especially related to sustainability, is we try to maintain as many trees as we possibly can. But sometimes the cost of relocating a tree doesn't work out because half the time the trees don't survive when you try to relocate it to a different location, and it's significant cost involved. So a lot of times if we have to tear a tree down, we go ahead and try to replenish some trees on the site as part of our redevelopment plan for that particular project to make sure that we provide appropriate landscaping and make it a very friendly place for the exterior of the building.
I have another question related to sustainability. Since Cypress is the third largest district in Texas, what is your opinion on the district-wide cutting of the recycling program?
The main decision behind that is unfortunately our community was abusing the recycle bins, and we can show you lots of pictures. In fact, I think just recently today, the recycle bins here, just over the weekend, filled, or people were putting trash outside of the recycle bins and really not doing recyclable materials. They're just throwing trash out there, and it's become a really bad eyesore. It's a trap for rodents, and it's just unsightly for our community. So we felt it was a need to go ahead and make that decision. I know we've gotten some criticism as a result of that. But one of the other issues people don't realize, when that program was started many years ago, recycled materials were at a premium, and schools could actually make anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month based on community participation. We don't get hardly anything, and it's actually costing the district money to actually provide those recycled bins out there. So it's an actual added cost to us, and we're having a potential issue, not potential, we've had that issue at a lot of the schools. The decision we did do was, a lot of the high schools do have recycling clubs, so we made the decision to go ahead and not remove them from the high schools at this point. And then we're going to look at development of some other recycling programs that we could look at implementing, and then make a decision as to whether we're going to keep those recycle bins at the high school campuses.
I'm Connor Dusky from Langham Creek. I would like to ask you, as you oversee a lot of departments, transportations, road safety, for example, would that go under your supervision and working with companies to maybe install crosswalks? Would that be under?
It's not under the transportation department, it's actually under our facilities department that oversees and works with the county officials to deal with crosswalks and signal lights through that process. So a lot of times we do get requests from campuses to consider putting a crosswalk. There's certain rules and regulations that we have to comply with in order for the county to even consider a crosswalk at a location or even a traffic signal light. A lot of people said, hey, just go build a traffic signal light. It's not that easy. You know, one, they're very expensive to build. They're in the neighborhood of $350,000 to $400,000. The county always comes back to the school district or the developers in the area and asks for participation in the cost of that. We always have an issue with that because we feel that is the county's responsibility of the public roadways, but unfortunately the county comes to us since we are a generator of some of the traffic. They expect us to participate in those signal lights. But what the county requires, they do what they call a warrant study. We have to go actually hire an engineer, traffic engineer, to perform the warrant study, and then that study has to meet certain criteria in order for the county to consider it warranting a signal light at that location. And if you don't meet all that criteria, then the county will not approve the signal light installation, whether you're paying for it or they're paying for it. So it's a long process to go through. We're currently working at several locations right now for potential signal lights. Cypress Ranch High School is one that we're looking at right in front of the school at the main entry. And we're also looking at some signal lights at the Cypress Woods campus over there on Spring Cypress and Jarvis and Skinner Roads.
Thank you.
You are.
What affects the building layouts for different schools?
What usually affects the layout is the site we purchase and how we can configure the building and the orientation of the site. We certainly want to be energy conscious, so we have to orient the building in certain ways to capture north light, and we want to reduce the amount of heat gain on the southern exposure of the building. So we have to be careful how we design the building and lay it out based on just the pure site condition and location to do that. And then we pretty much have standards in our district for elementary, middle, and high school program in terms of what needs are needed for classrooms, the number of classrooms, and all the support spaces that are required to design a building. And so we already have that data and information, so we take that information and work with the architects that we hire and then develop various design schemes, and then we meet with various departments within the district to get various input, and then eventually we finalize the design and move forward with it and move forward with construction. It's a great question because it is a very complex process. In fact, when we go buy property, one of the things we look at is I bring an architect on board very early to have them start laying out the potential use of that property to make sure it will work for an elementary school or high school or middle school. And if it doesn't seem to work well, we don't have good circulation patterns and road access, then we would probably pass on buying that site and then look at an alternative site that would be more conducive for safe operations in the design of the building. You're welcome.
With the past two schools that have been built, so in Bridgeland and then also Cypress Park, there's definitely been, although there's been reduction in recycling and all of that, there's still, with those new schools, definitely an eco-friendly kind of aspect to them.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you guys took into consideration?
Yes. And one of the things we do, like we use a lot of masonry materials because masonry lasts a very long time. If we use a different type of material, we might have to replace it, and then we're going to be taking that material and putting it in landfills. So one of the considerations that we do when we design a building is how long a particular material will last, and then once it does have to be replaced, is it recyclable or not? And so we make those decisions as we go through the design process. And the market is changing drastically with new technologies and new development of new products, so we're always having to stay on top of the research and see what materials actually work well and do well for us and will last a long time. I mean, one of the biggest compliments we get is when people go in one of our older buildings and it looks like it's brand new, and the building's 40 plus years old, because what the teams do behind the scenes in cleaning those buildings, but more importantly, it's the materials that we select during the design process so that those materials will last a long time. Because obviously when you have a high school that's got 3,500 students, there's a lot of kids, a lot of traffic in and out, so it takes a lot of wear and tear, so we want to make sure materials are there that can withstand that constant use of simplistic designs of buildings, simple forms, but I also like some of the historic buildings that, you see throughout the world, as an inspiration of some of the design elements and so forth, to do it. But I'm still probably, I like the modern architecture, and I really love residential architecture. I just love what we can create as residential spaces and the variety of different spaces that are available, to meet a particular client's needs. I've designed a couple of houses personally over my career. One got built, one didn't get built, but, it was fun to design. I enjoyed the residential aspect. And part of it is because my dad was a contractor and my, uncle was an architect. So I got my inspiration to become an architect with them, and they were always involved in building trades. And my dad was a general contractor who built houses and small, light commercial construction. And he brought me up on the construction side. So I've always enjoyed the construction side of it as well as the design side of it. You're welcome.
So, I just read that there are multiple of them now, but the radio towers have been, just
Yes.
popping up. What are they for?
In our bond study, we included, some communication towers and upgraded radios throughout the district. And the reason we did that is for security and safety reasons. We currently have a lease, on an existing tower with Harris County, and unfortunately, they can terminate our agreement within 30 days, and then we would be completely out of service. We did not like being in that type of situation, so during the bond study, we felt there was a need, we needed to go ahead and construct our own towers so we could control our destiny and making sure we have proper communications throughout the district and radio support. I'm sure you've seen your APs here, your principals walking around with radios and stuff. So in emergency situations, that's tied to, our police department and to other various support departments so that we can respond very quickly if there's a need for us to get, support, people over here to help with a particular situation. Our transportation department, our operations and maintenance department rely very heavily on those radio systems in order to do that. So we have three actually constructed right now. The fourth one, we're going through FAA approval because that one's gonna be located at our Cypress High School site. The first location we had designed at that site, it turned out that we were actually in the flight path of a airport called Dry Creek Airport right down the road, and we didn't pick up on that. And when we went through the process, we were actually in what they call the 20-degree cone of flight. And so they rejected our application, so we're currently relocating that tower elsewhere on the site and going through the FAA approval process. So as soon as we get that approval process, then we'll be able to start construction on that fourth tower. Yes, sir.
Ethan Roebuck, Cypress High School. Is there any plans for the future for our school sector?
For Cypress High School? Yes, included in the bond program is some additional renovations. I don't have the actual list with me today. A lot of the stuff, since your campus went through a major facelift back in 2000 and 2001, we're probably gonna be going in and just doing some upgrades to existing systems and materials. It might include some replacement of carpet, air conditioning, but I can certainly provide that information to you. I just didn't bring that with me today. In fact, in the bond program, the $1.2 billion bond program, we're touching every single facility in the district. And I know for a fact we'll be doing some security enhancements at your campus as well. One of the things that was included in the bond was about $55 million for upgrades to security and safety issues at our campuses. And that's including bullet-resistant glass at our main entries. It's including, security vestibules if we don't have a secure vestibule at the campus. I think there's about 52 campuses we have in the bond program that need those vestibules. We're gonna be adding additional cameras at all our facilities and upgrading the camera system from an analog system to a digital system, which will give us better clarity and quality control when we're trying to look at film to see if we had an intruder or something to try to identify, those folks that are trying to cause, harm to our building or to our occupants. So it's an enhanced feature. In fact, one thing we're doing, we'll be adding 10 additional security cameras at our elementary schools, 20 at our middle schools, and we'll be adding 40 additional cameras at all our high schools. And we'll work with each of the campus principals and administrative teams in order to determine where the best locations will be for those cameras based on the building design and the site. And we also will have our police department involved in those discussions so we can make sure we locate them in the proper places. One of the other things that we're including at the secondary campuses, if y'all been to some of the college campuses, you'll see those kind of blue light phones. It's like an emergency phone you'll see in various parts of various campuses. So we decided we're going to implement those. In fact, those are being installed as we speak. And that way, if somebody's out there in the athletic area and maybe they've got their cell phone, there's a close by phone, and if they needed some medical assistance or some other emergency, somebody could get to that and call. And that will be wired into our police department, and then the police department will be able to dispatch whether it's EMS or whoever else we need to bring in to assist with the situation. Yes.
Here at Cypress Ranch, we are, just received the new cameras for, part of our getting in and outside doors, and there's you have to swipe the card, and so were you guys part of that?
Yes,
Okay.
that was part of the bond program to go ahead and put a video camera and an entry device, and then also we've got various card readers throughout the campus, and we're actually adding additional card readers. We've already completed that work, so that as employees, in order for me to get in the building, I have to use this ID badge. Now, students, I think, if you're riding the bus, we've also been issued a student ID to track when you get on the bus and off the bus. And we've done that for increased communications with our parents, because parents will know exactly, it will send a text message to your parent when you got on the bus and off the bus. Maybe I shouldn't tell you all that, but but it's mainly for safety features, because a lot of times when we get phone calls, our transportation department says, my kid didn't get on the bus. Well, we have GPS on our buses, so we know exactly where all our buses are, and with the ID badge system that we have, it gives us the ability of knowing exactly if the student did or did not get on the bus, or did they get on or off at the right stop. And that's great data for us to be able to utilize to be able to help find somebody that may be missing for a short period of time. The other thing we're able to do with that system is in the food service operations, you can actually use the student ID as tied to meal plans and so forth as well. As another increased function. And that's where technology is going as we continue to move forward with buildings. One of the things you might not realize, we have a very complex building control system in all our buildings that is monitored at a central host location over in our maintenance department. And so we can pull up each and every school on the computer screen and know exactly what the temperatures are in the building, what systems or zones are working or not working. We can see if the zone is having a problem, if the temperature is not hitting our set point, then we can try to go in and troubleshoot. If you recall, I said earlier, a lot of times we'll discover problems before you even walk in the door. Our teams are monitoring those systems throughout the day to see if there's any problems, so that we can try to respond quickly to address an issue so the building doesn't get too hot in order for y'all to be able to run the building. Yes?
Why is it that in some schools there's like the buttons to go into the building and
I'm sorry, I didn't hear all that.
why is it that in some schools there's the button to like go inside the building and then in other schools there's
The buzzers you talking about?
Yeah.
The video phones we put in, they should have been installed at the majority of the campuses. All the card readers, we actually started the card reader program even before this bond program. And when we were able to, our previous superintendent wanted us to consider doing card access to our buildings. So we started putting some card readers at some of the schools. We didn't do them at all the doors. And if you look at a high school, we have lots of doors, so we have to look at just control points as to, we work with the campus administration to determine where those devices should be installed. So you may not see it at every campus, and a lot of times it's based on what the administration at that facility suggests we do for the installation. Yes, sir.
This might come off a little bit shady, but how does the district handle vandalism?
Great question. One of the things we do when we build a brand new building on the exterior, we actually put a coating that's about 8 foot high, and it's a vandal resistant coating. And it's actually a product that's made out of animal fat. And we coated, our operations department comes in after we complete the building, and they apply get a report of that, we have a team, no matter what time of day or night it is, we can dispatch a team to go do that cleaning right away. And that's probably one of the reasons why you don't see much graffiti at our schools, is because we're on top of it when it does occur, and we want it done quickly. We don't want that standing on the wall for 2 hours or 3 hours, we want a crew out there to get it cleaned as quickly as we possibly can.
Follow-up question. How will the card readers be affected by the policy?
By the policy?
Vandalism policy, if someone were to like destroy a card reader or such.
We haven't had the issue yet of the card reader being destroyed. Obviously, it would probably send a signal of an alarm to our police department that we have a problem and it wouldn't be functional, so then we'd have to dispatch security to come in or maintenance to come in and replace the card reader itself. But the card readers are set up is that each card has got a unique number and it's tied to an individual, and so we'll know when people get in or get out of the building, so that does help us in tracking security things. If for some reason we had an employee that was mad about something and decided to go do some vandalism, if they use their badge to get in the building, we have records of that to assist us in solving the issue.
Hi, yes, I'm getting noticed. I'm at Cypress Ranch High School. With the badge system, talking about they don't work. They're use a food thing. They're underlying the thing for the scanner. They don't always work as they always do because when I do it, they don't work. So what's the best option that you can fix for our tracking things that won't work?
Well, we probably need to see, it may be just the way they make the card reader itself. The card reader may be bad, or it could be the card may have gotten damaged, the magnetic strip or the chip inside the card may have a malfunction. So if you have that problem, you may just want to talk to your campus APs, and they can contact the appropriate department to see what we need to do to fix that problem for you.
And I also think is that when we have our bags, when we swap our bags for our lunch, they don't always work the way we want it to be because they don't work.
They don't work and they
And our
just
surfaces don't work at all.
okay. Well, we'll probably have to talk to our food service department to see if there's an issue with the system or the card, or to see if we can solve that problem for you. You're welcome.
I don't think this is a district responsibility, but on Perry Road, do you know if that subdivision that's going in, if they're gonna put in a sidewalk for those kids that walk on the side of the road in the morning?
Is this by Cypress Creek High School?
By Cypress Creek High School.
I have not seen the final plans of the subdivision, and I hope our county is enforcing them to put a sidewalk over there. Because that's one of the problems and struggles we have in Harris County, is they don't always enforce the same requirements on the developers like they do us. And now they're all requiring us to build a lot of sidewalks at our campuses, but I'm not seeing the reciprocal being done with developers. And they need to be doing that with the developers, so hopefully they will construct one there, but I have not seen the plans, unfortunately, as to whether they are or not.
Do you know who the developer is?
I think it was KB Homes.
I drive on that road in the morning.
Yeah.
I almost take a couple of times.
And I'll check with my facilities group to see if they've gotten the recent plat for that development and if they've included a sidewalk or not. And if they haven't, then we can certainly contact the county and suggest that they consider making the developer do that, or maybe the county will come to do it. We've had a lot of cases, we've had to work with the HOAs, the MUD districts, and even some of the campus PTOs to actually fund additional sidewalks at locations. Because over the years, 20 years I've been with the district, when I first started, we did not build a lot of sidewalks. There was not a lot of requirements in terms of putting sidewalks in there. And the district was busing pretty much every student, if they chose to run a bus, to do that. And we want to encourage folks to run a bus. But over time, the county has changed their regulations and requirements. In fact, when we go design a brand new building now, we are required by the county to do a traffic impact analysis. And we have to have an engineer hired to do that, so it's additional cost to us, the district and taxpayers, to have that study performed. And then they require us to adhere to that traffic analysis based on where kids are coming from, the traffic in the general area, where, intersections, and they enforce that. They actually come out after our building is built, and they'll come out and verify if or not we're following that traffic plan or not. And if they don't, I assure you, I get a phone call and say, you're not complying with this, and we have to figure out what we need to do to resolve the issue concerning the county had. Cypress is a very unique design. It's a one of a kind. It was our original high school built back in the 1940s. We don't have any repeat. That's a one-story high school that's been added on and added on. There was only one little two-story section at that building. Now, this facility here at Cypress Ranch is a repeat design of Cypress Springs High School. That was our new prototype that was developed in 1997, and then we built that all the way to High School 10, which was Cypress Lakes High School. And in Cypress Park High School, we decided to develop a new prototype, and I really wouldn't even call it a prototype. We developed a new design called an educational village over there at Cypress Park. And we took a large site like we did here and master planned it for an elementary, high school, and middle school. But one of the unique concepts about that is we brought all the buildings very close together. Here at this site, each building kind of stands alone and so forth. Now at Cypress Park, each building will have its own entry and access and bus drives and so forth. But what we created there was a central commons building. So the food service operation, so we have one large kitchen that's going to serve all grades K through 12, and we have one large dining area, but it's subdivided, it will be subdivided by folding walls, so we can separate the elementary school kids from the middle school kids and the high school kids. But after hours, we'll be able to open those walls up and use that as a very large multi-purpose function space. We could have parent functions, all kinds of different events that we could have where we need a much larger space to accommodate that we may not have elsewhere in the district. So that's one of the advantages. The other thing we did there is, as you know, we have a pretty strong culinary arts program in the school district. So what we did as part of that design, we actually designed the culinary arts lab adjacent as part of that building. It's a separate building. So the students will have the opportunity to go see a live commercial kitchen in operation, full blown, and have the possibility of being able to work in one of those kitchens as part of the program. So it's one of the things we're trying to look at doing. The other thing we actually did on that is we actually have a joint agreement with Good Neighbor Health Centers. And we actually looked at trying to see if we could build a health clinic within the high school, but there was too many issues we had to work with to do that. So we actually partnered with Good Neighbor Health Centers, and they came in and we basically let them use our property, and they built about a 10,000 square foot health center there, and that's going to provide services to our students as well as the local community. In fact, we're actually going to be busing students from various schools in the general area to be able to receive health care at that location. And it also gives an opportunity for the students that are interested in the medical profession and careers. They'll have an opportunity to go to the Good Neighbor Health Center and work with partnerships that we're trying to develop with our curriculum folks to be able to expose students, if you're interested in those fields, to see a lot of them in action.
So as you talked about earlier, with in regards to population growth for student body, impacting your deciding to build new schools, do you see in the foreseeable future any new high schools being built besides Cy Park and the new one in Bridgeland?
Yes, we do. We're actually looking at, we anticipate there will probably be needed a 13th high school based on what we see in the foreseeable future. And we're currently in negotiations or getting pricing right now for a potential site that we're looking at to purchase, which will actually be a multi-campus site. I can't disclose any information about it because we still have to talk to the Board of Trustees and allow the board to approve us to move forward with negotiations, but we are looking at a multi-campus site. And we're actually, as part of that site we're looking at, we're actually looking at needing a 6th transportation center. So we're trying to size the site appropriately so we can fit a transportation center in addition to an elementary, middle, and high school. Yes, sir.
Well, speaking with that, like how far into the future do you take those enrollment predictions to start looking at, researching the land and like, you're talking about the 13th high school. How many years in the future are we looking at, and also not just schools but also facilities? So if we keep growing and there are 3 or 4 more high schools, are we going to have another athletic facility that's built?
Yeah. Typically the projections range 5 years, 10 years is what we typically look at as planning models, and then certainly if you look at your most recent data, and they use what they call the cohort survival method in terms of how they calculate the calculations. But that information is used, and we rely on it very heavily in order to project what new facilities we need. Or in some cases, it may be that maybe it's beneficial for us to add on to a building and increase its enrollment. Very similar to the Maskey, instead of you know, we could have looked at Maskey as an addition possibly, but that site was so small and compact, it would be very difficult for us to add addition and additional parking to support an increased enrollment there. So we could look at existing buildings and see how they can be renovated, and increase the enrollment. In fact, we've done that a lot, and one of the things we've done in our bond program, we've, ever since I've been here in 1997, we went to our oldest high school, Cypress High School, and we included about $30 million in that bond program to go ahead and renovate and give Cypress High School a facelift. And what we've been doing ever since in these bond programs, we try to look at the latest, oldest school that we have that we haven't touched, and go ahead and look at putting a major renovation addition to it. And we included 3 facilities in this bond program. We included Adam Elementary, Bain Elementary School, and Watkins Middle. And all 3 of those projects are under construction. We plan on having those finished in August this year. But by doing that, we're able to reconfigure the walls and change the classroom sizes. Some of the older buildings are smaller in capacity capabilities. So when we go to those old buildings, we can actually modify and add on to them and increase the capacity, which could help prevent us from having to build another building based on that data. So that's all the factors that are taken into consideration as we move forward to see what future needs we need from a new facility standpoint and or renovations.
Are there any plans for any art installations?
Any what?
Art, like murals or?
We, not that I'm aware of right now, we do try to take the school colors and the mascots and implement that into the design of the building and design of the new building. At Massey, for instance, we are doing kind of a mural wall there as part, because if you've ever been in Massey, they actually have this tree, and all the kids that have gone through it have actually fingerprinted the tree. So we've taken pictures of that, and we're trying to emulate that design actually in Massey Elementary, because it's one of their strong traditions at their campus. So in that case, we have. A lot of times the campuses actually raise money through their PTO to come up with a design, and we've worked with the campuses to find an artist that would do that. But most of the time, that's handled at the campus if they have funds available to do that. We typically do not put a mural in the design other than working around the school colors and the mascots that we selected for the campus. What?
You mentioned when talking about the arts program that PTOs could help fundraise for it. Would it be possible for PTOs to help fundraise for road safety enhancements? Like you said earlier, how it costs about $3,500 to $4,000 for a signal light, and a lot for crosswalks as well. Would it be possible for them to help fundraise and then just have to go through all the red tape for Harris County for building that?
We've actually worked with a couple of PTOs that have actually raised some money to do some sidewalk enhancements over the years. And then we actually try to work with the county or the local mud district that serves that campus and or the HOA. And a lot of times we're able to get a partnership together to where everybody puts a portion of money in to raise enough money to be able to implement the improvements. Now, the signal light is actually $350,000 to $400,000 to do a signal light. I wish they only cost $3,000. We'd probably do it very quickly. It was only $4,000, but they're very, very expensive to do, unfortunately. To do that, but some improvements you may have seen in some of our campuses, where some of the elementary schools have put some tracks in. At some of the older campuses, it's like a crushed granite track, so they have a walking trail. PTOs have raised some money for those type projects. They typically raise money to add additional playground equipment. When we build a brand new school, we have a certain allotment of playground equipment that we budget for, and then the campus over time, the PTOs typically, especially in elementary school, want to add more playground equipment. So we work with them through our purchasing department as well as our facilities department, because we need to make sure what they want to do so they don't go poke holes in the ground and hit a gas line or a water line or something like that. So the departments work very closely together to ensure that we can get a good design for them. Thank you. Welcome. Yes.
In Langham Creek, we have a drainage ditch that's called Lobo Lake, and it's basically used to collect rainwater and urban runoff from the streets from the parking lots. How do you plan to implement a similar design of that into the newer high schools and newer schools?
That's a great question, because it depends on what the Harris County flood control requires us to do. There's some sites we can actually purchase where they do what they call a regional detention facility, and we don't have to do an on-site detention or retention pond like you have in front of Wayne Creek High School. And a lot of times when we're buying new property, we're trying to negotiate that there's a regional facility that we can tie our stormwater drainage into without having to build a big retention. Because it takes up a lot of acreage and it costs us a lot of money to build those. But sometimes sites are configured in such a way we don't have a choice, and we actually have to do a retention pond on the site. So it varies from property to property. Our ultimate goal is not to have one on the site and tie into a regional facility. Because as you've seen, probably in Lane Creek, where we've had some very significant flood issues, that pond has overflown into the neighborhood on the streets. And we actually have a pumping system in place there, and it's tied actually to our emergency. If the pump fails and it hits a certain level, it sends a signal to our dispatch office, so we can dispatch a plumber or electrician out there to investigate what the problem is, so we can avoid that overflowing and potentially flooding the streets and the neighborhoods in the area.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
With the construction of all the new schools, how often do you go back to the old facilities and see how they work?
Great question. We actually keep a database in our facilities office and tracking all the various systems. So various materials have a certain life cycle, and we keep track of that. Like carpet, carpet typically has a 20 to 25-year warranty. So when we start planning and looking at brand new facility or bond programs, we look at the data that we have and just see what the raw data says. Okay, the building's 20 years old. Odds are we're going to have to make sure we include carpet replacement as one of the items for consideration. But what we also do is we're doing inspections of the buildings all the time. Our maintenance people and our operations departments are all in the buildings pretty much every day. And a lot of times they'll uncover something and they'll report it to us, and we put it on a future bond list of any future enhancements that need to be done or repairs if it's something we can't afford to do through our normal maintenance budget. Unfortunately, we only have a limited amount of money that's given to us in our maintenance budget, and unfortunately, when your chiller, your big air conditioning system here breaks down, they're very, very expensive to replace. Now, we're going to replace it through the maintenance budget, but if it's getting on its last leg of its age, of its useful life, then we usually have to include that in the bond program so we can get the funds there if the voters approve bonds. Y'all understand the bond process and how that works? I'll just give you a quick 5-minute or lesson on how to. The way we build our buildings, we actually have to develop a bond referendum, and so we go do a bond study and determine what all the needs are for new schools as well as renovation. So we actually go and do assessments of all our buildings and come up with any issues we see with the building and create a formal list. Most districts form a committee that helps us with. It's based on community members participating, and we present what the needs are, and then the committee has to review all the data we provide them, and then they make a formal recommendation to our board. And that's what we did with the $1.2 billion program. And just to give you an idea, we actually identified $1.9 billion in needs, not wants, but needs that needed to be done in the district. But because of all the other complexities of funding and tax rates and everything, the committee was only comfortable with recommending to the board a $1.2 billion program. So that's what the board approved, and then we were able to go out to the voters, and then the voters went ahead and passed the election. And we had good turnout, and we had good results on that. And then that gives us the money for the ability of selling bonds, and when we sell the bonds, that's how we get the money to do the construction of the projects. That's a very short, simplified version of bond that we deal with.
What would you say is the biggest benefit of your job?
I love every day is a new challenge. You never know when you wake, like this morning, waking up is, okay, my phone's ringing off the wall. We're going to have school today or not because of all the rain conditions. What are we doing? So I check with my departments to make sure everything is. So that's what's exciting about it. It can be a distraction because you can't get certain things done that you planned for that day because of some of these emergencies and our flood in April that we had to deal with and so forth. But one of the biggest things I really enjoy is when we open a brand new campus and watching all the students get off the bus or get dropped off by your parents or walking in the front door and walking in and saying, wow, they built this for me, and just seeing the reaction that we see from our students with the buildings we do, and even our renovations. In fact, I remember when we renovated Lampkin Elementary School, and some elementary kids were walking through, and we had not finished the project. We only did the addition, and we're still working on some of the renovations, so these students got to see the addition. And they said, I wanna go there, I don't wanna go here, because they just love the building and the fact that we built a brand new building for them, in addition to it. But that gives me great satisfaction to be able to see what we can do. And knowing that what we do has an impact on generations to come, so we take our job very seriously, and want to make sure we design a building that is gonna be useful for the next 40, 50 years. Because we don't go sell our building, whatever we build, we gotta build it correct, because we get to live with it for the next 50 years. If I don't build it right, I get another chance to fix it the next time. In fact, what's interesting is some of the early buildings I've designed and was involved in design when I first started here at Cypress 20 years ago, we're now going back in and trying to do renovations to them. And it gives me the opportunity that if we had a problem, we can fix it now when we go back and build it. But hopefully we won't make too many mistakes when we design and construct buildings. Yes, sir.
I know at my school, Cypress High School, we just had the football fields and track repositioned and also just renovated. What was that handled more on the local school side or the district side? What went into that decision?
We looked at a master plan of all our athletic facilities and some of the needs that are out there. And one of the things that we always struggle with when we're getting a bond program approved by the voters is some people do not like the fact that we put some money in for athletics. So it's always a challenge for us is how do we deal with our athletic facilities and so forth. But we looked at the tracks. In fact, a lot of our tracks at our campuses are just, they're old and they need to be fixed and in place. And so we looked at all the tracks. We worked with our athletic department and getting their recommendations of where they saw the problems at. And then we worked with our finance department to determine how we could fund those improvements. We were actually, because we were very successful in our previous bond programs and actually wound up having extra money left over because we got our projects in under budget and we had some surplus. We used some of that surplus to assist with some of those improvements at the athletic facilities you're seeing around the district.
When constructing projects, do you guys ever work with any other school districts?
Actually, we work with a lot of, we always stay in contact with the facilities groups of all the other school districts to find out what they're doing, how they're doing things. We actually have various associations that bring all the facility directors together, and we share our stories and projects and lessons learned. And so we do have a very collaborative school community. It's really a small world out there when you start looking at the people we interface with. But we do stay in contact with various school districts to find out what they're doing, or if we run into a particular problem and we never run into it before, I'll call Katie or I'll call HISD, people I know over there, and say, okay, how did you guys solve this problem? What did you run into? And we love to share information and help each other out. So it's a great partnership with the other districts that we try to align ourselves with.
Maybe one more question.
Yes.
I heard there was a little flaw in the construction of the new track at Jersey Village High School. Are you aware of that?
A new flaw?
A flaw.
A flaw in the new track? I haven't heard that.
I don't know, my coach, I have a coach for soccer, and supposedly there was a flaw in the track that they made it 401 meters long.
I haven't heard that one. I know one issue we had at the track with the original design, y'all only had a 7-lane track. And so when we were coming in, we tried to make it 8 lanes and modify it, because your side over there at Jersey Village is extremely tight. We don't have a lot of land to work with, so I know we had to squeeze that in and try to make that work. But I haven't heard that we actually constructed it longer than 400 meters, but I will certainly bring that up with my team and ask them to check into that.
It was during the process, yeah. They had to go back and redo it.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard that, so I'll do it. That's our energy efficiency at work. We turn the lights off, whether you need them or not. Save those dollars.
All right, everyone, let's give Roy a hand for coming out today. We're going to bring up Julia Vega and Elizabeth McKnight Townsend. They want to give Roy a little, Roy, you can stay up here.
Just up here.
They want to give a little token of appreciation. We have a high school Journalism Network tumbler for you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, on behalf of the Science Media Department, I want to say thank you for coming to the HSJN press conference. Cameron and I speak on behalf of the whole staff. Thank you for joining Mrs. Sprague and I for setting afternoon. We hope to see you at Lemon Creek.
ties into your campus, because you're gonna be able to generate a lot of great story ideas, I think, from this one. Because Roy's full of knowledge, obviously, about the district and how fast we're growing and how much opportunity there is. So, if you have any follow-ups, definitely you can shoot those my way and I can pass those along to Mr. Sprague. We will have the video posted after the stream ends in case you missed some of the questions or the answers that were given. You can go back and watch that. I've got the link up on my Twitter, and I'll send that out to you via email too. Thanks again to Cypress Ranch. I saw Mr. Hull, the principal, was here for a little while, and I was going to give him a shout out for being here. Definitely appreciate that, and appreciate all the students here at Ranch and from every other school too for contributing to this. But really appreciate you guys hosting and giving us such a great spread of food and everything. So great hospitality. Thank you so much. Like she mentioned, we're gonna have the next press conference at Lightning Creek, February 8th.